Hey, soldier, welcome to Pocket Ronnie. Sit down, pay attention, and conquer your fear of math.
Okay, we're going to be doing cofunctions. Where this name comes from, co comes from the word complementary. Looking at a right triangle, of course this is 90 degrees. All the angles in a triangle have to add up to 180. So here you have theta and alpha. Let's just say theta was 37 degrees. That means alpha has to be 53. How did I get that? 90 minus 37 degrees is 53. Those two angles are complementary. They're complementary because this is 90. So these two have to add up to 90 in order for there to be 180 in the triangle. So these two angles are complementary angles. We also call them, when we're using trig functions, they're called cofunctions. Complementary functions or cofunctions. So if you see here, sine theta is the same thing as cosine of the other angle. So in other words, if using this example, we could say sine of 37 degrees is the same thing as cosine of the other angle. The other angle meaning 90 minus theta. This would mean if this was 37, 90 minus 37 would be 53. So sine of 37 degrees is the same thing as cosine of 53 degrees. If you don't believe me, you can put those both in your calculator and you'll get the same decimal for both. So cofunctions, sine of one angle is the same as cosine of the other angle. This is how I like to say it. The same is true, cosine of theta is going to be equal to sine of the other angle. The other angle meaning 90 minus theta. Same here, tangent of theta will be cotangent of the other angle. The same is true with cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So these are all called cofunctions. So looking at 8b number 4, you want the cofunction, or they're asking the cofunction of sine of 56 degrees. So cofunction of sine of theta is going to be equal to cosine of the other angle. Literally, you can just take your angle and put it in here everywhere for theta. So sine of 56.42 degrees is the same thing as cosine of 90 minus 56.42 degrees, because the other angle has to be complementary to 56.42 degrees. So sine of 56.42 degrees, then the complementary angle to that is 90 minus that. So that would be cosine of 33.58 degrees. If you don't believe me, then you can put sine 56.42 degrees in your calculator, get a decimal for that, get a decimal for this, and they will be the same thing. Okay, now looking at 8b1, cosecant of 72 degrees. Our cofunction of cosecant would be secant. So cosecant of theta will be the same as secant of the other angle. That's how I like to say it in words when I write that, the other angle. Okay, so cosecant of 72 degrees will be the same thing as secant of the other angle. We get the other angle by taking 90 minus that. We want the complementary angle. So cosecant of 72 degrees is the same thing as secant of 18 degrees. 7, 2, 8, 9, okay, making sure I subtracted that right in my head. Okay, let's look at 8b2. We have cotangent of 23 degrees, 0 minutes, and 17 seconds. If they put their degrees in decimal, you put your degrees in decimal. If they use degrees, minutes, seconds, you use degrees, minutes, seconds. So we want the cofunction of cotangent. So cotangent of theta is equal to tangent of the other angle. So we're going to do cotangent of 23 degrees, 0 minutes, 17 seconds is going to be equal to tangent of 90 degrees minus 23 degrees, 0 minutes, 17 seconds. when you have degrees, minutes, seconds, I recommend doing it by hand. If you convert this to a decimal in your calculator, then subtract it from 90, then convert back to degrees, minutes, seconds, your angles might not add exactly to 90. So your cofunction angle needs to add this angle, and your other angle need to add exactly to 90. Can you go back up to this? So, for example, looking at these two answers, cosecant of this angle is the same as secant of the other one. These two angles have to add exactly to 90. So when you have degrees, minutes, seconds, I recommend doing it by hand. 90 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, minus 23 degrees, 0 minutes, and 17 seconds. You have to borrow. Here we borrow, that'd be 89 degrees. That'd be 60 minutes. We have to borrow again. So now that becomes 59 minutes and 60 seconds right there. I know this is all teeny tiny. So 60 minus 17, that would be 43 seconds. 59 minus 0, 59 minutes. Then that would be 66 degrees. So then my answer would be cotangent of 23 degrees and 0 minutes and 17 seconds is the same thing as tangent of the other angle. You want to make sure that these two angles add exactly to 90 degrees. You can just double check. Those seconds add to 60. Then that 60 seconds is 1 more minute to add to this 59 to be 60 minutes. That adds to 1 more degree here. So you can make sure that these add up to 90 degrees.